in a day's work. One down. Who's next?
Hey everyone, I want to take time and make a build guide for my Gemling Legionnaire that I've been playing for the last week or so. We've made it to level 89 in hardcore solo self-found. It has been a lot of fun, and I've had people in chat asking me if I can make a build guide for it, so here we are. First, I want to go over the skill tree. Obviously, as you can see, we're Gemling Legionnaire. Main thing you want to do is go over here and get enhanced effectiveness on your second ascendancy. This is going to double your bonuses from intelligence, strength, and dex. Again, the main one we're going to care about is strength. At 651 strength, instead of getting +2 life per strength, we're getting +4, which is huge for this build and a massive amount of life. I currently have 4,617 life with 453 life regen. There's a lot of things I can do to improve my gear currently, so don't take those numbers as your end game numbers. As you can see, we came down here. I did go over this side and grab a little life regen, some life regen nodes here, armor nodes, block nodes. There's not a lot of nodes that will give you damage with this build. So the ones you want to look into are going to be like Lay Siege, which is 1% increased damage per 1% chance to block. Another reason that block chance is going to be important on your shield. These are going to be physical nodes here, leading up to Cruel Methods, which is 25% physical damage. Break armor does actually help this build, and I'll go into that a little more later, but it is helpful for this build as well. On this side of the tree, we're going to spec into both these Warcry nodes. It's going to give us more AoE as well as Warcry speed. As we go down to the bottom of the tree, we're going to spec into Brute Strength. We do lose some mana for that, but once you socket Life Tap and your life regen can cover it, that's not going to be an issue. As you can see, we'll get 1% increased damage per 15 strength. Urgent Call, very good node for this build. 2% life and mana every time you use a Warcry, which is 4 Warcries a second if you're just holding the button down. And also Warcry speed, which is very big for this build. Goring is going to be just a straight fizz damage increase. We're not going to really get anything off the life leech, and the reduced life obviously hurts a little bit, but worth it for the 40% damage. Again, we're kind of starved for damage nodes with this build, so crucial to get as much as we can. Down here at the bottom, we have Polymathy, which is 10% increased attributes, obviously for strength stacking, really big. Now, if you do get an Astrum Mentis, if possible, speccing into Jack of all trades is probably a good way to go. It does seem to be a pretty large damage increase once you hit about 150 at all attributes. Going up the top of the tree for damage, we're going to grab both Guttural Roar and Deafening Cries. These are both going to feel pretty good. We're also going to grab Battle Fever if we have the points. Right now, again, I'm level 89, so it depends on how far you play this character, whether or not you're going to be able to grab Battle Fever. You'll see that I have Titanic over here. Now, ideally, you probably want to anoint Titanic. There may be something better on the tree to anoint. I haven't looked yet, but for now, I've been running Titanic. I plan on anointing Titanic. That will save me these 4 points leading up to it, which will let me spec up into this Battle Fever. As far as gear is concerned, obviously, like I said, I'm playing hardcore solo self-found. There are a lot of places that I could get gear upgrades, but this is what we're working with currently. For our mace, ideally, for your suffixes, you would like to have a large strength roll and a +2 all melee skills. The strength roll is going to give you damage on your Corrupting Cry, and the +2 all melee is going to enhance your Hammer of the Gods and your Totem if you decide to go damage Totem. Increased physical damage on the front end is huge. That's going to let our Hammer of the Gods do a massive amount of damage. For your shield, you want to make sure you get increased block chance. Not only do you need that to get the 69 block chance or more that I currently have, but you're also going to want that for the increased damage from the damage per block chance node that we just went over. On your armor, if you can snag an implicit with life regen, that's going to feel really good. I think for my build, it gave me about 200 life regen when I got the implicit. Definitely a big upgrade. As you can see, there's a lot of room to improve on my chest piece. Amulet, Astramentus is the way to go. Obviously, I don't have that, so this is what I'm currently running. Just get as much strength as you can. For the helmet, you have a couple options. Black Sun Crest is going to be really good for strength stacking, but I don't currently have access to this. Deed Bell dropped today. I don't know if that's how you say it or not, but I did acquire this today and I equipped it, and I actually really enjoy the way this feels, giving the Warcry explodes. The extra AoE and the Warcry speed also feel really good as well. Now, as far as gems are concerned, we're going to start with Seismic Cry. Big thing to note on Seismic Cry is this line right here. If a heavy stunned enemy is hit, your next slam is empowered to perform an additional aftershock. If not, this skill's cooldown is reset. So if you do not hit a stunned enemy, a heavily stunned enemy, then the cooldown on this ability is reset. We're going to use Pen support. Pen will make Warcry, our Warcry, Seismic Cry, no longer cost stun. Instead, it's going to cost Pen. Pen is basically a root. Will root the enemies in place for X amount of seconds. They can still do ranged attacks. They can still melee you if you're close to them, but if you are far away from them, since the Warcry pushes them back, you should be, then it negates a lot of damage that you take from a lot of enemies in the game. Corrupting Cry is really where our damage comes from here. Basically, it's going to take your Warcry and make it do a physical dot that is 25% of your total strength. It can stack up to 10 times. Next, we're going to have Life Tap. Now, Life Tap, you're not going to be able to run until you get a higher amount of life regen. I want to say around 2 to 250 is where I switched in Life Tap, but you may have to experiment a bit with this yourself. As you can see, I can just hold the button. My character can Warcry forever with no mana or life costs. Now, Seismic Cry is going to do really good for clear speed. Once you get to bosses at later level maps, it's going to start to slow down a little bit as far as damage is concerned. And that's where Hammer of the Gods is going to come in. Now, currently, my Hammer of the Gods is a 4-socket. I have it socketed with Ingenuity, so that it has increased cooldown recovery. More maximum physical damage. 35% more physical damage with less attack speed. And finally, we have Exploit Weakness. Exploit Weakness is going to consume Armor Break to give us 50% more damage. Now, as far as Armor Break, the way that I'm getting Armor Break is I'm using Ancestral Warrior Totem, and then I'm using Armor Breaker Gem. I'm also using Persistence on this, so that the totems stay up longer. And Ancestral Urgency just feels really good as far as totem placement speed is concerned. It is much faster, quality of life wise. We're also going to be using Infernal Cry. We have a couple nodes that are Warcry nodes that also give us empowered damage with our Warcry attacks. And since Hammer of the Gods is a melee slam, it does count for the empowered damage. So we're using Infernal Cry to empower Hammer of the Gods. We're going to use Premeditation, which gives it 15% more damage on Empower. So basically, when you get to a boss, what it's going to look like is you're going to Corrupting Cry 10 times. That will stack. You're going to drop your totem. Your totem will start breaking armor. Usually takes, again, anywhere from 1 to 3 hits on a boss. Right about the time armor is broken, you're going to use Infernal Cry. That's going to empower your Hammer of the Gods. For our Spirit Gems, we're going to run Time of Need, which gives you a heal every so often that also removes curses and elemental ailments. With that, we're going to run Fast Forward. It makes this happen more often. And then Vitality, which will give us more life regen. You can also run Clarity prior to swapping Life Tap support in for your Warcry so that you have more mana. Then we're going to run Blasphemy support with Enfeeble. That will make monsters do less damage overall. Magnified Effect makes that a wider radius. And then Heightened Curse will increase the effect of Blasphemy support. As far as leveling goes, I suggest probably going with one of the slam skills. I've also heard that quarterstaffs can be pretty good with this build. Or you might just need to experiment a little and see what works best for you.
one down.